Alright, folks, I am your host, the Dynamite Crypt, and today, on Comic Fever, it is Comic Fever's presents Legacy number 1, non-spoiler, spoiler review. So, first up, as always, the non-spoiler review. Um, we've got writer Jason Aaron, artists Esad Ribic with Steve McNiven, color artist Matthew Wilson, letterer VC's Corey Petit, and cover is Joe Quesada, Kevin Nolan, and Richard Azonoff. Um, I have heard many things about Legacy, both love it or hate it. I can definitely say I loved it. Um, it is definitely a book that needs to be read for yourself and get your own opinion on it. But to me, the book was great. The artwork was very good, and I am not usually one to praise computer generated art, but in this, it was great. If I had any nitpicks, it would be one, to know which it is, stay tuned for the Legacy spoiler, or go to Collectible Cavern, comic comic collectible cavern. Uh, I'll tell you anyway. It's basically to get a little spoilery. I would say any fan of Wolverine would probably not be a fan of what was done. Um, anyway, that is my non-spoiler review. Uh, so let us get on to the spoiler review. Okay, before I do that, to all of you who are leaving at this point, as I say at the end of all my videos, I'll see you on the other side. For those of you who will stay, it's Legacy number 1, spoiler review time. First off, let me start with an apology. There is no cast list as with the last event. Uh, this one has so many different characters, or follows so many of the main characters that they didn't feel the need for a list. However, let's get right to it. We start on Earth over a million years ago. Thor's hammer sits buried in a pile of rubble sticking out of the ground. Narration begins. Legacy. That's the one word that keeps bouncing around in my brain more than any other. The word that worries me, that keeps me awake at night. In the same scene, someone says, ugh. The next scene, a close up of the hammer and the furry hand of Primal Man can be seen reaching toward the hammer. More narration says, which I am sure sounds silly for someone my age, but lately I can't help it. The next scene, one primate can be seen trying to lift the rubble off the hammer, while two more look on watching. Narration continues. I worry about whose legacy I should be aspiring to follow in these very dark and troubled times. The one trying to lift the rubble covering the hammer lets out an "Urgh," while off to the side we hear, get away from there. Shoo. The next page, the narration finishing its thought from the previous page, or whose I should be running far away from. We see it's Thor Odinson walking toward the primate being and saying, get the hell away from my hammer. One of the primates looks up and simply replies with, ah. Thor walks up to them, and the one guarding the hammer runs away, bare bottomed. Thor says, "Sorry, son of a diseased troll that is Mjolnir. You were supposed to return to my blasted hand." Thor looking down at the hammer. "I will break you, you stubborn hunk of Yuru. I will bend you to my will, even if it takes a million." The voice a voice cuts Thor off, saying, "You lost it again?" Thor turns toward the sound, and it's the Phoenix. He responds, "It slipped. 'Twas all." The Phoenix replies, "For an All-Father, you are a terrible liar, Odin. I think whenever you throw it, the hammer sees this as an opportunity to escape." To which Odin replies, "I think you should mind your own damn business." The next page, Phoenix, in all her fiery glory, says, "Your proficiency in battle has become my business, Asgardian, whether I like it or not. For the Phoenix does not plan on dying here today. Did you see this monster fall?" Phoenix, standing near Thor. Thor's back to the Phoenix. Thor says, "Dying? Does this look like Valhalla? Nay, it's still Midgard. Damn me for a fool for ever creating this realm. This place has been nothing but trouble, and I, a pretty bird. 'Twas Mjolnir and the Odin force which felled the bastard." The Phoenix says, "It's stirring. I hit it with blast that would melt a supernova, and the thing is still moving." Odin, bent over, picking up Mjolnir, says, "Not for long." Then, with some struggle, Odin lets out a "Urgh." Then, as Odin gets out his hammer, Phoenix says, "Well, that took some considerable effort." Odin replies, "Still your flaming tongue. Where are the others? Did any survive off to the side? Off the side we hear, here." The next page we see Black Panther and a group that follows. Black Panther says, "All accounted for and assembled." Another says, "Grunk," guessing that is his name. The next one says, "Starbrand has declared their blow was the one that toppled the Sky God, that they claim the right to eat its heart." The Ghost Rider says, "Tell that cave-dwelling ape he can eat his own lies. I brought the thing down, and I'll see every scrap of it burned to ash for what it took from me, and for vengeance." Panther says, "I'm one with you, Rider, but we cannot allow our newly formed pack to devour itself." Another speaks up and says, "It's no damn Sky God. It's no God at all." The Iron Fist of the group says, "Its chi burns brighter than the sun, brighter than even Shou-Lao, the Undying. Agamotto, you claim to be all-seeing. Have you ever seen a being such as this?" Agamotto replies, "Yes." The next page, the group watching as the great monster ride gets back up. Agamotto continues, "It's called a Celestial, one of a race of cosmic giants as old as time itself. But this one is much different from the others I've encountered in my travels beyond. More wanton, more deranged. The way it rages, tearing apart the earth as if searching for something. It seems almost rabid, as if infected or..." Another cuts him off and says, "Infected or not, it rises." The writer responds, "Yes, but it also bleeds, and the spirit of vengeance will drink every last drop." The Phoenix says, "You heard the Sorcerer Supreme. There are more of these things out there, more beyond the stars. More could be coming, so what do we do with this one?" Odin says, "That part should be obvious." The next page, Odin screams, "We kill it." Odin continues, "Then we nail its corpse to the moon in warning to all. This world may be hideous and inbred, but it is not without its protectors." More narration. It's a lot more complicated than it used to be. That idea of legacy, of our legacy. The group surround the giant beast. Narration goes on. There are so many of us now, in all different shapes and colors and creeds. Or maybe there always were and we just didn't notice. But what does that mean for the legacy we leave the earth? That is, if we plan on leaving an earth at all, around at all. Transition to now Reyes, the new Ghost Rider, his head resting on the steering wheel of his car. We hear, "Hey, wake up in there." The narration picks up. "Like I said, these are the dreams that keep me awake at night. I guess I don't mind not sleeping. I can't. I can find other ways to fill the hours in the day, but I do miss the dreams." Rhea is waking up from his sleep. I dreamed that I was riding a mastodon and there was a Black Panther and an Iron Fist, and out of the wind, out of out the car window, we hear, "Over here, kid." To the side of the car, we see a police officer. The narration: "I used to have some pretty wonderful dreams. I wonder when I stopped." The officer says, "I'm going to need you to step out of the car." The narration, and why it took so long for me to notice. Reyes looks around. "Oh, where the hell am I?" The last thing I remember, I was at home working on the car. Then, "Hey, this doesn't look like East LA." The police officer: "All right, out. This is your last warning." The next page, Robbie takes off, talking to himself. Robbie says, "Great, just great." Robbie, looking out the side mirror, still talking to himself, says, "As if your life wasn't complicated enough. Now you're running from the cops. And where the hell am I again?" Passing his eye, he says, "Wait, did that sign back there just say Cape Town? As in Cape Town, South Africa?" A look of frightening surprise crosses Robbie's face, and he says, "Did I just sleep drive from LA to South Africa? I knew this car was weird, but that is just damn ridiculous. What in the friggin' hell is going on?" Is going. A blast makes the car swerve. Robbie yells, "Holy." The next page, a man stands in shadow, says, "Ryder, I knew you would be the first to show." Robbie, looking out at the guy standing in front of his car. "Hey, look, pal. I don't know if you're some sort of South African superhero, but I'm not here looking for any trouble. I'm just a bit lost, is all." The man, who I think is the Starbrand, says, "The Starbrand is the Earth's inherent defense mechanism, its most vital primeval protector. That is why I'm the one who has to do this." Starbrand punches through Robbie's window and says, "I know what you have seen in your dreams, Robbie Reyes, but I'm sorry, I can't let you anywhere near it." Pulling Robbie out of the car through the window, Starbrand goes on, "You are not ready to face the rains of destruction it would bring down on this world. None of us are. That's why it has to stay buried, no matter who has to die to keep it that way." The Starbrand, readying one of his blasts, says, "No matter who the Starbrand has to kill." Robbie, from the ground, through his Ghost Rider powers, commands his car to barrel over Starbrand, and he says, "I don't know what you're talking about, Pendejo, but I do know you just picked a fight with the wrong Reyes and the wrong car." This time, Starbrand on the ground. Reyes gets up, morphing to the Ghost Rider form. Starbrand says, "Yes, that's it. Show your true face." That's the way it should end, with the battle that was destined to happen for a million years. The Ghost Rider says right, and your face is destined to get punched a million times. Standing over Starbrand, but he finishes by the damn Ghost Rider. More narration. It's not just my dreams I lost, it is what they anchored me to. My place in this world, my history, my future, and I'm not the only one. Next, we go to Jotunheim, also known as Realm of the Giants. Narration says, though there are others who are bound to their legacies to their forefathers in ways that could never be severed, Loki is giving a speech to some frost giants. I know what it is you are thinking. This wasn't the life I expected. This isn't the adventure I thought I was destined to lead, that I had been promised since birth. The close up of Loki narration, no matter how deep they cut, Loki says, well, welcome to the club. Loki continuing his speech to the giants. We are the children of Rhyme here, are we not? We all have the same frost giant blood coursing through our veins. However, like me, you lot never quite measured up, did you? We are the runts of the litter, giants in name only, crushing disappointments in our father's eyes. Loki pointing out to the small crowd of giants. We are the ones they just as soon forget, but we won't let them forget us. Will we, brothers? No, not after tonight. Loki's alight with power. Loki says, it's out there, brothers, calling to me from across the realms. The power to change worlds. So go forth and fetch the trinket for me, ye bastard sons of Jotunheim, and become my black ice berserkers, and the children of this realm shall sing songs of our frigid greatness as long as the blizzard roars and the skies rain frozen death. The portal opens and the frost giants begin to step through one by one. One of the giants says, we'll do your dirty work, Loki, but you best deliver, or the next trinket we fetch will be your still beating heart. Loki replies, that's the spirit, my father, King Luffy, will be respecting us in no time. Another giant says, should we expect resistance? Loki responds, well, it is Midgard. I do expect a few foolish humans to be bumping around. Please try to keep the killing to a minimum. Crate 41939, that's what you should be focused on. As all the giants go through the portal onto Midgard, Loki says to himself, respect of my father. Can't believe they brought that one. I guess it helps that the truth is even more ludicrous. Hi, I'm Loki, the littlest, more liarish giant. And believe it or not, finishing his thought, I'm here to save the world. Transitioning to shield storage facility, location classified. From inside the facility, good of you boys to finally show up. Now inside the facility, a group of soldiers is being led by former shield agents. One of the soldiers pipes up, blame Travis here for our being late. He was convinced we were being followed. Travis says, I'm telling you, the same truck was behind us for miles. A beer truck of all the. Travis is cut off by one of the agents. Can we just get this over with? Some of us have to get busy being, unemployed. Getting out of the elevator deeper into the facility, one of the soldiers says, yeah, I can't believe this is happening to you guys. That they're shutting down the whole shebang. I mean, SHIELD was such a stable organization. One of the SHIELD agents says, you guys must be from the Pentagon's Wise Ass Department, huh? Well, believe me, in this room there's nothing to laugh about. You're looking at S.H.I.E.L.'s deepest, darkest secrets, and any of these crates could bump you all to high hell. So enjoy the ride back to Area 51, fellas. One of the soldiers says, "You get a manifest for all this dirty laundry? Please tell me it's all in order." The group of soldiers and S.H.I.E.L.D. agents walk over to a single crate, and the lead says, "All except for this. There's no record of this crate anywhere. No idea where it came from or how long it's been here." A soldier asks, "Any clue on what's in it?" Another agent with the group says, "If you're dumb enough to open it and find out, be my guest." Another soldier says, "Guys, it's just me, or is it just me, or did it get cold in here?" All of the next page, the soldier is interrupted by frost giants coming through a portal. The soldier screams, "Ah!" The soldiers call for backup, saying, "Big angry snowman, this is not a joke. Send backup. Send all the backup." The same soldier says, "Holy hell, good thing we brought you to. They are on sub-level 9. The elevators are over. We will not be needing elevators." Seconds later, Thor tosses her hammer through the wall, breaking into sub-level 9. Thor and Sam Wilson, his last time as Captain America, come bearing through the wall. Thor tells Sam it is frost giants, small ones. Sam retorts with, "They don't look so small." Then Thor says they will once we are done with them. Sam says, "Guess I can give the old thread some action one last time." Narration reads, "As Jane Foster, she might be losing the battle to cancer, but no one said she couldn't have fun while dying." Which is why at the end of the battle, Thor will most definitely be making out with Falcon. Jane Foster, Thor, and Falcon fighting the Sam Wilson Falcon fighting the giants. Thor says, "Well, if this truly is your last day as captain, let us make most of this day. There will be the sweet taste of battle, of mead, then perhaps of your lips." Sam replies with, "The kissing can wait. For now, let's focus on the punching." He yells to the group of soldiers, "Get behind me." In unison, they say, "Yes, sir." Narration Sam Wilson will miss the salutes and adulation, but with Steve Rogers finally back, Sam's ready to let go of the shield and be his own man again. Maybe after a few more swings. Tossing one of the giants into a crate, Wilson says, "Well, look what you uncovered, big guy. Must be an old prototype shield." Or the next page, a frost giant holds a captive and says, "Lay down your weapons, or I tear through this meat sack like a snow-nado with razor's sleet." Now, you blithering. The snow giant is interrupted by Ironheart, whom tears tears through tears through the wall and joins the battle. Someone says, "Well, looks like the backup for the backup has just arrived." Standing next to Captain America and Thor, Ironheart apologizes for being late, saying, "Let's just call it some super science and leave it at that." A fast introduction is made between Thor and Ironheart, then to Ironheart and the Frost Giants. Ironheart says she's happy to meet, though they've met before. Then Thor says, "Well, if by meet you mean bludgeoning," then Thor agrees. Cap Falcon says, "Bludgeoning, right." A glowing thing can be seen in the foreground, while in the background the fight continues. A report can be heard of a nationwide manhunt is taking place for the mouthy assassin known as Deadpool. Wilson Fisk, running for mayor in New York, pulls ahead in the polls, and the rest of the country is asking. Next page. Outside the diner, the report finishes. Where is Captain America? Inside the diner, the announcer on the TV says, with the recent takeover of Hydra, it feels kind of funny to say that now, doesn't it? But after everything his supposed doppelganger put this country through, we still like to know, where's the real Steve Rogers hiding? And when will he answer for what's been done in his name? Another cup. The waitress at the diner counter asks. Probably a good idea, Steve says. His hand on the counter in front of him, a plate of fries. The waitress asks, that your bike out front, right? Long ride ahead of you? Steve replies, I expect so. Well, where you headed, handsome? The waitress asks. Steve replies with, wish I knew. The news spouts out its call letters, and Steve asks, mind if we turn off that TV? End of the page. Narration says, and uh, Steve Rogers isn't sleeping much these days either. Like me, he is thinking of legacies and how easily they slip away. In a bar in Asgardia, Thor Odinson says, more mead. Thor continues, if I must say it again, bartender, some women's back deep are going to taste Euro. The bartender says, you are not starting another fight in here, Odinson. There is no one alive in Asgardia who will oblige you, no matter how much you might want them to. On the Rainbow Waterfall Bridge, narration says, while the Odinson wallows in unworthiness on the nearby Rainbow Bridge, a god whose job it is to be a foreseer of the future, though after this vision he has recorded, wishes to see no more. He says 3 words and takes 3 steps, falling into the cosmic ether. Mangog is coming, he says, and dies. Then all the guards of Asgard shudder with no knowledge why. To the Stark facility, annoyed by being interrupted, Miss Watson says, this better be good, and I mean season 4 of The Wire good. I got so much to do and so little time to do it in. One of the guards of this facility says, yes, Miss Watson, we just couldn't say anything outside the restricted area. It's about, well, you should just see for yourself. They walk into an empty room, and Miss Watson says, is this a joke? I am looking at nothing here. The guard says, that's it, ma'am. That's the problem. He was still here an hour ago, and now gone. Watson, looking at a tablet, says, you're telling me. The guard cuts her off and says, I'm telling you there was no change in his biosigns. No trace of anyone or anything else entering the room. We see on the screen and a picture of Tony Stark. Is a picture of Tony Stark. And Watson says, where the hell is Tony Stark? The rest of the book is the follow of each fight. The first being the Ghost Rider and Starbrand as they pummel each other back and forth as they go back and forth through it seems and forth, though it seems less like a fight and more like training as Starbrand taunts Ghost Rider. Next we go to Great Karoo region in South Africa. 2 agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stand on the side of a road. One says, talk about your crap detail. They go back and forth about how since the dismantling of S.H.I.E.L.D., life has gotten pretty boring. Then out of nowhere, a blast comes and tosses them aside. Starbrand in the crater that it has made. The fight between Ghost Rider and Starbrand continues. We come to Deadpool, and he is praying in a bathroom stall, talking about all the sins he has committed and the more murderous ones but one that he is especially sinful thing he did. It doesn't say. Then we go outside the stall where some armed police officers stand. One of the cops says, "This isn't a confessional, it's a restroom in a Roxburgers on 25th Street. Then they're under arrest for the murder of Phil Coulson. So come up with your hands up," or another cop says, "Blah, blah, blah, just shoot him already." Go back into the stall where Deadpool is being riddled with bullets and saying, "Thank you, Father, may I have another? Thank you, Father, may I have another?" The next part is of Iron Fist and Doctor Strange at the Sanctum Sanctorum. We find out that someone has tried to enter into the place, but luckily, as Doctor Strange says, they did not get past the shrubbery. Iron Fist says, "Your shrubbery?" Doctor Strange says, "My shrubbery is not to be trifled with, Daniel Rand." Iron Fist says, "Right, and I hear your refrigerator is no piece of cake either." Doctor Strange very seriously says, "Do not joke about my refrigerator." Iron Fist says, "Look, Doc, I am not here to joke. I'm here because with this, well, this might sound a little crazy, but have you ever had a dream you were a caveman who murdered God?" Doctor Strange says, "Many times." Outside, Osborn can be seen running away. Strange finishes his thought saying, "But our dreams will have to wait till we know the Sanctum Sanctorum is secure." Osborn to himself says, "Darn that shrubbery. There are other sources of power in the city ripe for the taking. And next time, Norman Osborn will not be denied." We come to the Avengers mansion. A voice says, "Something wrong?" Jarvis, looking outside at the world, replies, "Sorry." Nadia, walking into the room, says, "I said, is something wrong, Jarvis? You're just standing there staring." Jarvis says, "It's the strangest thing, Nadia." Looking into the mansion from outside, Jarvis continues his thought. "I knew every prick and stone of this whole place, from good memories to bad ones. And yet, have you ever felt as if some part of your surroundings, some insignificant detail is just, well, wrong?" Nadia says, "Can't say I have." Jarvis answers, "Well, jamais vu, I believe the French call it. A trick of the mind. I suppose, after all, looking at a statue of the Avengers, everything just as it should be. Change is never easy." The next page, we are back in the storage facility where Wilson, Foster, and Ironheart fight the Frost Giants. Narration says, "Even in a world that's always changing." Ironheart says, "So does this mean we are like the Avengers or something?" Still fighting, she continues and says, "Because the three of us fighting like this, I don't know, feels kinda Avengery." Sam says, "Call us whatever you want. After we finish with these bloodthirsty monsters are to murder us." Thor chimes in with, "Let her say it." He goes back and forth like this for a couple pages. Then finally the moment comes and Ironheart says, "Avengers, wait, what's the line?" Sam says, "So the moment passes." Thor says, "'Twas never my favorite war cry anyway." Next we come to Thing and the Human Torch, talking about regrouping, about remembering the past and being remembered. We come to the beer truck that was supposedly following the Shield members, and we see a frost giant tossing stuff around. We also see the familiar claws come out. Then a man lights a cigar and tosses the match away, saying, "Come on, bub, let's get to it." It is revealed to be Wolverine. Next, we go to Jean Grey. She is at the site where Wolverine was buried in adamantium, and lo and behold, it is split open. Next page is back in the fray. Ghost Rider defeats Starbrand. The Avenging Trio takes out the Frostbrand Giants, and the biggest reveal of the whole book. Turns out much of the narration was given to us by Valeria Richards. Yes, Reed Richards' daughter. Alright, folks. That was my take on Legacy #1. I kind of fast forwarded the last few parts only because it seemed like it was taking forever to write the script. So, um, anyway, I hope you enjoyed both my non-spoiler and spoiler reviews. If you managed to stick around for them, but even if you hadn't, I hope you enjoyed what you got. So anyway, as I say at the end of all my videos, see you on the other side.